Ever since I started making Reading Pixels, I've constantly been looking at games that I haven't got a chance to play with, be it because of a lack of free time or just not being able to hear about them until now. Because of this, I've gotten to introduce myself to new games that I haven't even played before. And naturally, when I'm looking at all these different games, I'm bound to find something that I really want to talk about, be it because I feel that there's a topic I want to analyze, or because I really just enjoy the game. Or I could just be chasing after a new gaming bandwagon for more views. That's a possibility. So with that stated, I won't be covering Grim Fandango this episode like I promised. I just felt that with all the different possible angles that I can look at, as well as just getting around to finishing it, I needed a bit more time to really make a quality video for you all. Plus, I've been a bit more preoccupied with today's game, Night in the Woods, an adventure game dealing with life in a small rural town where your normal life is changed by bizarre disappearances, supernatural disturbances, and a crazed killer on the loose. Now, where have I heard that before? Must be a coincidence. Okay, so this time around, I really want to emphasize that I'm going to be spoiling a lot of this game. I mean, I've spoiled games in the past, of course, but with the game being so recent, in fact, just made last month, I really want everyone to have enough of an opportunity to really play through this game before having it all spoiled. So, if you haven't played Night in the Woods before, I highly recommend to do so. Go play it. Or at the very least, watch a Let's Play of it. There's plenty of people doing it right now. Trust me, there's a lot. Or even better, go on PSN, go on Steam, buy the game. Highly recommend it. I know I'm not a review series, but do so. It's great. Go buy it. So, with all that being said, let's talk about the new indie darling, Night in the Woods. Night in the Woods is an adventure game developed by Infinite Falls Studios and published by Finji. The game was kickstarted back in October of 2013 and released on February 21st, 2017. Here, you play as Mae Borowski, a college dropout moving back in with her parents. Throughout the game, you explore the small town of Possum Springs and reconnect with her friends, as well as talk to people she's never had a chance to talk to. By doing so, you learn more and more about the histories of the different residents of Possum Springs, as well as learn a bit more about Mae herself, learning why she left college, about her childhood, her past relationships, and all the major stressors that she's been experiencing. Now, thankfully, you don't just spend the whole game just talking to people every day. There are also a lot of different activities you do with the residents of Possum Springs, such as go stargazing, play the bass, listen to poetry, eating donuts, going to the mall, finding body parts, act in a play. It's the interactions that really give Night in the Woods such an effective sense of relatability. The personalities of Mae, Bee, Greg, Angus, and the rest of Possum Springs are memorable to the point where I consider some of these characters to be the best so far this year. Granted, it's April, so that doesn't really mean much now, but it goes to show just how well written these characters are. For starters, you have Bee, who's been dealing with her mother's death and father's mental breakdown, causing her to run the family business all by herself. There's Greg, who's constantly worrying about his future with his boyfriend Angus, and even Angus himself, who's dealt with an abusive childhood. However, out of all the characters in the game, the character that I find myself enjoying the most, to the point of making her the subject of today's video, is the main character, Mae Borowski. From the beginning, you don't know much about Mae. All you're told is that she's dropped out of school for some reason, that she's had a troubled past, and that she's trying to take everything in stride. She doesn't give any reason as to why she left school, only that she didn't really feel right there. In terms of personality, she tends to go with the flow in life. She's a bit scatterbrained and loses focus at times, never misses an opportunity to make a snarky remark, and takes plenty of risks in life, often to an illegal level at times. Shoplifting from stores, knife-fighting friends, smashing light bulbs, trashing a bathroom, walking on power lines, dooming a murder cult to suffocate in a mine, stealing pretzels. While Mae's personality is front and center, you start learning a bit more about Mae's personal history in Possum Springs. You'll learn that, while in high school, she beat a kid with a baseball bat during a softball game, causing her to go through therapy and counseling. You'll learn that, before doing this, she went through what seems to be an existential crisis, making her believe that the people in the world aren't people at all, but just shapes. It's this mindset that caused her to beat that kid, making her the town's black sheep. She manages to get over it for a bit, but the feeling comes back to her during her second year in college, after looking at the statue of the founder, a statue literally made out of metal shapes. This sends Mae to another bout of depression, which makes her feel that she needs to leave college.
Now, here on Reading Pixels, we like speculation just fine and dandy, but when it comes to topics such as mental health, the last thing we want to do is play literal armchair psychiatrist. I mean, saying things such as, going through my analysis of the case study, I've come to the conclusion that our patient, Miss Margaret Borowski, may be suffering from bouts of acute attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, primarily focusing on her impulsive and hyperactive tendencies. But what I am a bit more concerned of is her violent bouts of violence, her self-destructive tendencies, alienation of reality, that kind of stuff. That's a bit more concerning. I'm so glad you're able to come to me for this. I mean, clearly, there's no one here that's more qualified to talk about topics such as this. I mean, who's more qualified? Come on.
I'm Ryan Martin. I'm a counseling psychologist, chair of the psychology program. I teach courses on mental illness, emotion, anger and violence, things like that.
Well, I guess he'll do. Okay, in all seriousness, I felt if I'm going to do a proper character analysis on Mae, a character with so many mental issues to begin with, I might as well utilize at least a little bit of the resources I have in college while I still have the time left. And to be totally honest, I think it's going to be a bit more entertaining to hear this kind of stuff from an actual expert in psychology rather than just hearing me spout some random facts off the internet. So, Dr. Martin, knowing what we know about Mae's personality, how exactly would you describe her?
My sense, based on what I know, is that this is someone who is really socially anxious, someone who is kind of hypercritical of herself, who is kind of out in the world and is, kind of anticipating how other people are going to view her, and being really anticipating that they're going to be hypercritical of her. And I think a lot of that, kind of what feels like it's born out of some insecurities, a lot of those insecurities make her hypercritical of the world.
Also, kind of going on with that, we were kind of talking about the whole shapes conversation that she had. What kind of drives a person to sort of have that sort of mindset exactly?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the one part of this that reflects something that I might describe as potentially a psychotic break, this kind of disconnect from reality. I think what complicates that a little bit was her age at the time that it happened, assuming kind of similar developments to human beings, and we're talking about a cat, but assuming similar aged human beings, it does, it's not uncommon for kids to not fully, or not, for adolescents to not fully understand the consequences of their actions and kind of become disconnected from those consequences. That said, this is a really extreme example of that.
Also, in the game, she's basically told, during her counseling and everything for the first initial incident to keep a journal with her. Would that necessarily help in not necessarily an extreme case like this, but
Yeah, typically, so the idea that people carry a journal around with them, or what we oftentimes refer to as a mood log, is a pretty common therapeutic practice, and it's trying to help people recognize the connection between thoughts they're having and emotions they're having. So it's not uncommon for us to say to a client, you know what, every time you have a really strong emotion, write down, the emotion, but then the situation and thoughts behind it. So what motivated it, what led to it, to better understand those relationships. And that's typically a really helpful process. One of the things you notice about Mae is how much time she spends in her head thinking about things, evaluating others, evaluating herself. And so the purpose of that kind of journal would be for her to have a better sense of kind of what she's saying about herself and how those things translate into particular feelings and other thoughts.
What would you recommend for people who kind of feel like they're kind of going through the same things exactly as her?
So one of the things I would advocate or I would encourage is for her to, and for anyone dealing with that, to think about the role that what they're doing has on other people, and then think about what that might draw from people. And so, one of the best ways to get people to be nice to you is to be nice to them, and that evokes a similar complementary response that is kindness.
Night in the Woods is a fantastic game that explores plenty of complex themes while keeping everything simple and relatable. The dialogue used in the game really gives you an amazing look into each of the characters' personalities and creates a memorable experience with each and every one of them, whether it be just hanging out at the train tracks or taking a nature walk. There are very few games out there that deal with the existential dread of transitioning to adulthood so well, if there are any at all, to be honest.
If I can be honest for a second, the big deciding factor for me for covering this game so soon was the Shapes conversation with either Greg or B. I'm not really sure how to really describe it in words, but going through that conversation, I knew instantly I had to talk about this game. I mean, I knew I was going to somewhere down the line, but after that, the sooner the better. I didn't want this game to just fade into the background like so many other games do. I don't want it to get as big as like Undertale per se, but still, like, the more people who talk about this game, the more people play this game, recommend this game, the better. So please, like I said before, if you haven't played Night in the Woods, go get it. Go buy it. Wait for it on sale or whatever. Even if it isn't on sale, go buy it. Or at least look for a playthrough on it. There's plenty of there. Plenty playthroughs out there. I highly recommend it. You won't be disappointed. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. Please let me know what you think of the show so far and what I should cover next. I have a lot of ideas, but it wouldn't hurt to get a few more. If you like the whole interview idea that I did today, let me know if I should do it more often. Also, if you like the video, leave a comment, a link, a like, you know the drill. Also, next time, we're finally going to get into Grim Fandango. I know I promised before, but next time, definitely going to promise to do so. Unless there's another game out there that's going to make me drop everything I'm doing. But honestly, what are the chances of that happening the second time in a row? With that being said, see you there. Didn't think it would take me so long to actually make that episode. But it's finally done. Next time, no more switching episodes in the last minute. At least not for a while. We can finally talk about Grim Fandango next time. Next time. Oh crap, I forgot to turn the light off. Leave it on. I feel like I'm forgetting something else. I'll wait till tomorrow.